All right, how's everybody doing out there now? Is that working better? I think that's probably working better. All right. As fun, always a few technical difficulties. Here's what we're doing today. This is Let's Code a Full 90, where we'll take the next hour and a half and dig into some source code and try to make our part of the world a little bit of a better place. I'm your host, Rob Menching, and we're doing the Wix toolset today, which is what we've been doing for, since the beginning of time. Well, beginning of time being 27 weeks ago, plus a little bit, because I think we missed one or two here. Anyway, we're doing the Wix toolset, working our way through making Wix 4, honestly, a reality. So let's see, where did we leave off? We left off with a little bit of homework for me to do, things to go dig into and figure out why my memory was not lining up with the code that I was discovering. I have done that. And then I did a little bit more research, deeper, to go figure out the story behind or the restrictions on bundle variable names. So I will catch you up on the homework I did there, and then this little thing about perform background. So what are we doing here? Let me see. Where did I leave my issues here? We are working on these Wix 4 issues. Not that one. This one right here. That. Variable with variable name, that's a bundle variable with a name that has a loc variable in it, stays unresolved. And the decision where we left off last week was that there's no reason in putting loc variables in identifiers in these names, right? So I was like going, but I remember something about us having to do this, where I had to have loc variables in the middle of what I thought were identifiers. And that was wrong. It wasn't in identifiers. I did figure out what I was thinking about. It was localized integer values. So I remember this being kind of a mess when we hit it way back when. I don't know. Probably wasn't Wix 2. Somewhere in Wix 3, where we were hitting cases where people wanted to put localized variables where integers were expected. And it was a real problem. Where we kind of went, oh no. None of that worked. And of course, the big thing that you wanted to be able to localize was the XY positions or the width of controls in the UI. That was one of the big things. Anyway, so it was such a big thing. I remember that, where we had to figure out how to get both loci identifiers and binder variables in at that time. So all of that is to say that yes, we have to deal with localized integers, but we do not need to deal with localized variables inside identifiers. So if that's true, the case that we are looking at here, let me bring up the test code. This guy here, bundle with invalid loc values. I probably have it open. Yeah, good, it's still open here. That this variable that has a name that is a loc variable is not a valid thing to do. And the issue from last week is that because these loc variables are resolved very, very, very late in the build process, they're resolved after the linking. That means that if we allow these loc variables in here, the linker would actually be connecting the pieces based off of this string with the bang and everything. And that's, as everybody was like, that's just weird. And I was sitting here going, but I thought we had to do that. That was localized integers, not a problem, not the thing. We're gonna make this not valid code. So this is gonna turn into an error here when we get this all done. Now, where I left off was that we actually did that and said, so let's assume that a bundle name has to be an identifier, and identifiers cannot contain loc variables. They can't. We confirm that. I confirm that. So if we go and do that, then we jump in and go, hey, there's always this thing for get attribute bundle variable, and it goes a bit above and beyond. One, it will verify that the variable, or sorry, the value is an identifier, and identifiers are, if we work our way all the way down, all these layers are because of just history, things that we should clean up, but it's going to take a bit of rework, so we haven't cleaned it up. That's why you see these interfaces that then call into layers that then in the end just call into another common layer, where we have all this utility junk thrown about. We want to clean up the utility junk and put it in its proper place, but not all of them got there. And Git attribute identifier value is very widely used, so we haven't cleaned it up. Anyway, background history of why I had to jump through so many different functions there. All right, so what do? One, we get the attribute value, and then we validate that it is an identifier, which makes sense because this is the helper method to say, give me an attribute identifier. And if it's empty, it's not a valid identifier. And it's only a valid identifier if all the characters match valid identifier characters. And we check the first character because the first character is special in that it has to be a letter A to Z, lowercase a to Z, or an underscore. After that, it may contain numbers. And in the case of Windows Installer, can contain dots. And that's the one where I kind of went, oh, is that really the case? And if I bring up the Windows Installer documentation, because I went to go double check here, this is the Windows Installer's identifier type. Identifier type is a text string, yeah, A to Z, digits, underscores, or periods. And then every identifier must begin with a letter and underscore. Okay, great. So that means that, yay, this code is correct. That's essentially what this is doing. Now, the issue, if we walk all the way back to what we were looking at for bundle names, the variable value here, we want to get that identifier. So we know to have those restrictions of letters, numbers, underscore, dot. And then we want to validate that it's a valid bundle name in that it does not use one, it's not empty. That's already checked earlier, but this code is reused in several places, so that's why the empty check is there. But more importantly, it checks to make sure that the variable name is not one of the built-in system variables. And Burn has a whole bunch of built-in variables that you can use by name. So this extra check here says, hey, Burn variables cannot be one in this list of all these things. Okay, great. So we can see now that my check is failing, as it should be, because it is saying, well, it is expected search condition contains that, and now it's getting the variable name attribute value, this loc variable, which I'm sure is probably too small, is not a letter, digit, or whatever. So it's now catching the fact that this is an invalid identifier for a variable name. That's good. But the one thing in my homework, the second part of my homework was, the first part of homework was figure out why I thought loc identifiers were allowed, loc variables were allowed in identifiers. They're not. The second thing was to go figure out what are the restrictions on Burn variable names. And I had to go down digging, and I went deep into the condition validation code, because this is where we are parsing inside Burn at runtime the conditions of, foo is equivalent to the number 1 or whatever, the Windows NT version is less than 9, I don't know, whatever, all those different checks. And in it I found that when getting down to this case and the identifier check, it's checking to see that variable names are alpha, digit, and underscore. Notice that dots are not allowed in the Burn variable names, which is fine. I think dots inside Burn variable names probably would open us up to a whole lot of weirdnesses that we really don't want to deal with. But it does mean that Burn variable names are slightly more restrictive than typical Windows Installer identifiers, which is also fine. But we probably need to go and make our check for Burn variable names a little bit more restrictive. So this validate Burn, nope, not this one. Go back. Oh, I'm going to go back through all the code. Yeah, this Git bundle variable probably can't lean on Git attribute identifier value, and will need to have its own check. Or we have to enhance Git attribute identifier value to pass another value to say whether dots are allowed. And I don't think that's necessarily where we want to go either. So now we have to figure out how to reuse appropriately all of this code that we have and get the value that we want. So that's the first step here, is to validate the Burn variable name and make sure that it is essentially what an identifier is minus the allowing the dot, which is this common is identifier. Now common has a whole bunch of stuff in it. Is valid binder variable. 4-part version, long name, MSI, product version. We've done some of these. Get name, get identifier from name. What's get identifier from name? Is, oh, okay, yeah. So these are trying to generate file names from identifiers and things like that. That's not what we want. Okay. So here's our private static valid identifier char. So if we were to say valid bundle name char, then we would do this and we would take the dot out of the mix. I think that's what we would do. That's a lot of parentheses. Let's make sure I have all the ones I need here. Yes. First char and char digit. Okay. Okay. Valid identifier char is used in 3 places. Let's go look at them. Yep. So there's an identifier from a name. So it replaces all of the not good string or not valid identifiers with underscores. Here, get identifier from, same sort of thing. And then this is our is identifier. All right. So I think like the obvious thing to do is this. Not thrilled with most of my options, but is bundle name. The value is illegal. Bundle. I can't say name. That's silly. A bundle variable name. Variable that name is a valid variable at name, false otherwise. Okay. Can we rename this here? Yes. All right. Bundle variable name char. All right. So that would give us that function. If we go back and look at the bundle validator, I guess I want to use this here. Where are we? We're in the same place, right? So that's going to give us invalid illegal. Else if not common dot is valid bundle variable. Thank you. Variable name. Then we have to go give that a good error message and return false. Okay. All right, so we could do that. So now validate bundle variable name and can't do that. All right, we're going all the way back to the top and let's see. All right, get attribute bundle variable value. That's a funky name. Is that that's in core? Is this public? Compiler core is not public. No, it's internal. Okay. This only has one reference. Okay, so this says get attribute identifier value. I don't think we have to do that now. Oh, we have to get the identifier. Right, and then validate that it's a variable name. I think we can just get this as the value. Get the attribute value. Make sure that this, see, all these layers, things. All right, and if we don't specify the empty rule, then the default is can be white space only. Huh. That's the default? That's interesting. Not the, oh, no? Okay. Can be white space only. Not what I expected. So the empty rule must have non-white space characters. I think that's what we want. If we want to use that, or we could just take whatever and I don't know. It's like, it's kind of where do we want to do that check? So we could just take the default since most things do. And then validate the variable and call it good. Because this validate is going to check that null string for us too. So we'll get the consistent error message from the way that the validate bundle variable works. All right, so validate bundle variable name. If it's empty, illegal entry, that's great. Now I have to come up with this one here if it's not a valid name, and then if it's one of the built-ins, that's bad too. Okay. Okay. All right, now let's go with that message. So one of the things that's helpful for this error message, the reason I've been holding this off is because in my to-dos, I left this other part here that said this perform bundle backend validation command. So when I was wandering around the code, we saw this code fly by about the perform backend validation command. And what it does is during the final, like the backend, right? So the very end of the build process, it goes through and validates a whole bunch of things to be true about bundles, all kinds of different things. And one of the things in here that it validates is that it's a valid variable, which is fine. And then it runs this bundle variable name. Oh, wait. Oh, see. And here I was thinking, oh, and I'm going to get an error message, but this doesn't give me an error message. It already had an error message set for it. Okay. I thought I was going to be able to reuse an error message here. I'm not. Anyway, so this is interesting. Validate variable name. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. I want to go finish my error message here. What do I want to say? I have to come up with words, which has not been my strong suit today. What do I get? Illegal attribute value? Legal values. That's not what I want. I want illegal attribute. I want a good message for this. Tell me, yeah, all right, let's look at like this. Illegal column name. Yes, yeah, so we're getting a lot of these illegal, very specialized messages for the different values that you can have, for the different things that can be illegal. I was hoping to have something simpler. So I'm looking for the identifier one. Illegal, I think it's illegal identifier. Yeah, there it is. It's not a valid identifier. So this is almost what I want. I think, let's scroll across, is not a legal identifier. Identifiers may contain ASCII characters A to Z, digits, underscores, or periods. I want all this, but the thing about the dots. Every identifier must either begin with a letter or underscore. So essentially I want that message, but dots are not allowed. Which means I may have to create a new one, which I will have to create a new one, I think. This is such a challenge sometimes when we try to reuse so many of these messages, and I just have to sit and go, yeah, do I really want to say it's not a legal identifier? Because it's not. If we're strict, it's like, which identifier do we mean? Well, it's only the burn variable name has this identifier restriction, so I think I just have to bring it down to burn variable name. I can't think of anything else that does not have that dot. Yeah. What does MSI property do? We can go look at that. Let's see. That will be, let's see. Parse property element. I'm gonna guess it leans on the get attribute identifier. Yep. Then this goes down this way. And it gets an identifier. Is identifier, then it says illegal identifier. Yeah, so if it's not a valid identifier, it goes that way. Also, this is a good check. Yeah, this has the public private identifiers on it. So this if you haven't seen, you probably haven't seen this, we haven't talked about it a whole lot. There's a new scoping. You can now provide access modifiers to your identifiers throughout the Wix toolset. And you do that by prefixing your ID with a value, with one of these well-known identifiers, one of these well-known names. I think global and public are deprecated, and package is the new one. And internals deprecated, library is the new one. No, actually, I take that back. I think public and package are deprecated, and global is the new one because global applies to both bundle. Yeah, look at these names over here. That's what I need to do. All right, so global, library, and then file, and then section. And yeah, so it's modeled after scope, access modifiers on methods. So I think this says that I probably should use, maybe I should use get attribute identifier from here and then do the extra checks on the name so that we can get the identifier back. These public private things. Otherwise, because if we don't, then that means that bundle, let's see, bundle, compiler bundle, that means that bundles would not be able to have those the scope identifiers, the access modifiers on their identifiers. Access modifiers on their identifiers, yes. Okay, so that's interesting. All right, where is name used? If name starts with Wix, I see. So we have a global message around starting with the word Wix. We probably should push this down into that validate bundle variable name thing. Just so it's used everywhere. Yeah, that we should do that. So it's not just in the compiler. Okay. All right. I'm gonna shift this up a little bit. Here we go. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make this an identifier. Identifier. Okay, the name is now an identifier. This we're gonna say get identifier. There, now identifier. Great. If name is null, then we say we need an expected attribute. Great. Else, I'm gonna take this check with me and bring it down to, oh, how do we want to, this compiler core, oops, I lost it. Compiler core bundle, oh, you have the bundle validator. Okay, fine. Get attribute, okay. So this is hiding the bundle validator inside. I'm looking for, that's internal. Yeah, so that's our internal values. I'm looking through this list of things to see the way to do it, and I'm not seeing it. All right, take it back. I'm gonna change it around again a little bit. Gonna go back here. And I'm gonna put this back to get bundle variable name. Get bundle variable name identifier, I think is what I'm gonna call it. But I'm going to change it underneath. This is going to return an identifier. There we go. get identifier, validate the name, let's call this the identifier, call this the identifier.value, oh, ID, sorry, my bad. Call it the name. That's variable name. Let's be more precise. Variable validate. Okay, cool. And then I wanted to bring this check with me. Down here is valid. Else if that. Else if there. Variable name starts with this dot messaging, does that, and element name, attribute name. Boom. Great. So we brought that check. All right. So real quick, we brought that extra Wix check down, so it's going to be used everywhere, so it doesn't sneak by us. The get attribute bundle variable. Now I want to change this. Now this returns variable name identifier. Now it returns an identifier. Here, name is now identifier, and name is now an identifier. So we could drop that here. Yeah, yes, yes. Great. 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 So what we've done is we're now getting this as an identifier. We validate the bundle variable name. I like that as a string. That's great. And I'm still stuck with having to come up with an error message. Did I really put illegal column names in here? All right. Illegal bundle variable name. And you know what? I'm going to put this in compiler errors. There we go. I don't think we need to make it a globally general error message. What are we unhappy about? Not all code paths return a value? Oh, you don't. You will return false. Thank you. Yeah, so if it starts with Wix, that's a reserved namespace. That's an error message. You do not get to pass go. All right, so now we need to go write this error message for that, which is a lot like my, did it close it? Yeah, it closed it. Bummer. Go jump here. Illegal identifier. Okay. I think most of this message is pretty good for bundle names, so that will work. And let's go to compiler errors, and we will add a new thing. See, we have illegal name in here, so illegal name. Really, Rob? Really? Is that what you called that? Illegal name? That is not at all scoped well enough. All right, we'll fix that. I guess. Fine. Illegal bundle variable name. Valence. Boom. Yes, that's correct. It's not a characters, or ROI, return on investment? No. Or period. No periods. Must be within that. Element name, element value. Element name. Come on, type. Element value? Is that what it's called? No, just value. I think it was element value. Woo, all right, let's grab this number and go put it down here at the bottom. Yep, and we get a new one, equals 6603. Woohoo. I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to put this in my to-do just 'cause I want to drop it in right now. Rename compiler errors dot illegal name. Something more like illegal tag. I think that's what it was, right? That's the tag stuff we're talking about? Yeah, illegal tag. and then any character but the following may be used. Okay, fine. Cool. What do I do? Does not take 4. Okay. Does not take, oh, attribute name. Oh, I grabbed one of the, oh, bummer. I grabbed one of the illegal identifier. I didn't grab the one with the attribute in it. Oh, silly me. Because you can see there's all these overloads. I want to grab the right overload here because there's a lot of them to allow you to specify all the different places it could not be. And I want element name and attribute name. I want this one. There we go. That's the error I want to model myself after. String attribute name. All right, let's see this. The element name, attributes value is not a legal identifier. Identifiers are, oh, it's not a legal bundle variable. Well, that's interesting. It's kind of redundant, but don't know if we'll ever change the attribute names where they're present. There we go. Now we pass in the source line of element name, attribute name, and the value. Put that in there. It's not a legal. I think I want bundle variable name in there given this scope. Yes. Identifiers cadet or underscores. Every identifier must begin with a letter or an underscore. Great. AKA not a number. All right. Is valid bundle variable name, illegal variable name. Groovy. Whoa. Whoa. Object not referenced. So clearly I broke something when I did that. Let's go poke around well, let's see. Do I feel better about this code? Yes. Compiler bundle. This is, so that X right there tells me that that's where my crash is happening, is in there somewhere, which is fine. We'll go fix that. This looks good. So if we didn't get a name, then get an expected attribute. Oh, right. Bundle, validate bundle variable name. We're going down here and somewhere, you know what? Let's just debug this and see if we'll drop in the debugger at the exception. To be fair, you probably copied that from the old tax. Yeah, you're right. I probably did and didn't even think about the higher level scope of it. Exit with 362. User. Yes, thank you. I know. Let's see. Control E. All exceptions. When it fires an exception, please drop me in the code so I can just be dropped in. All right. Do I need this? I don't know. We'll keep that breakpoint. Really? Exit code 362. All right, what am I missing here now? Oh. Whoa. So this test here is now failing with the variable name attribute must begin with reserved prefix wix. It's not failing with the out of the object not set exception. Okay, let's see. All right, cool. So we must have put in a test the word wix in there somewhere. All right, that'll be fun to go dig into. Let's go back and look at our first test. No, you are the one with an exception. All right, great. Drop me to where this is not set. The bundle validator is not set? Okay, you've got me. I'll debug it. Show me what I did wrong. Yeah, I know. Don't really care about this right now. Thank you. Is bundle validator set? It is. Okay. Oh, attribute parent. Oh, okay. This is. What am I doing here? No, wait. Sorry. I bailed out of that, but that actually is what I wanted. But this is the issue. Variable name. Okay. Right. So, if variable name does not, we'll do it this way. If not string dot is null or empty, variable name question mark dot id. There. So we could get back an empty string. If we did, we already got an error message because the attribute identifier. All right. So what I'm doing here is with this if, then I'm going to avoid the case where this already told me an error message saying, hey, this thing's empty, and it doesn't give you a variable at all. You get this instead. All right. So now I've protected against that attribute identifier coming back invalid. Now I don't have that exception. Now I have this, and now I have an error message telling me that the set variable attributes value, this loc variable is not a legal variable name, which is true. That's what all of this has been about. And for whatever reason, that is the first error message. So the search gets bumped down, and our new error message that we just added gets bopped down here. Boom. That's our new error message, right? The set variable attribute loc burnt is not a legal attribute variable name. Identifiers may contain, pin. All right, it's still failing. Identifiers must contain those characters. Okay, that looks correct to me. It's upset now. The variable name attribute was not found. It is required. So this is one of those cases where when you get this error, it prevents the variable from getting set. And so you get a double error where it's saying, hey, you had an invalid variable name. Oh, hey, okay. Real quick, I'm gonna push that for a second. I just realized that this is a set variable. So the set variable command is a way of telling Burn to set a variable. It needs to also set variable valid names, and it's now set variable name attribute this is not a legal bundle variable name. So where I was kind of noodling on if bundle variable name was ever going to show up in that syntax and if it was always going to be variable at name, no, it does show up in variable name. So yay, consistency, just follow the existing patterns, especially in error messages, and things tend to work out. This is great. So this is a different one then. The variable name attribute was not found. It is required. So now I need to go back and look at the code because this is not exactly what I expected here. The variable, all right, so we got the set variable error message. So that's what this is all about. Here, the variable name was not set. Well, that's not the error message I want. I want the error message to say it's not a valid name. That's much more descriptive because the user would be like, wait, I did set the name. Hey, okay, fine. Parse variable element, thank you. Let's set a breakpoint, run our test, and let's see how this code runs down through. Yes, I know we're parsing chain packages. That's nice. Okay, now we're on our element node that is variable name loc variable value equals 1. This is the one that we want to have a good error message. Okay, so our first attribute is the name. We're going to go into the code we just wrote all the way down. Basically, is this a valid identifier? No, it's not. So it writes out is an illegal identifier. Oh, and it returns null. Oh, I see. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it returns null for backwards compatibility reasons in Wix. In Wix 3, I think or in the code, where we haven't done the whole sweep, when you have an invalid identifier, we return null, and I think there's some cases where it expects that. So we can't quite change that. But the unfortunate side effect is now we have, okay, go get our value. Don't care about the value. Value can be anything. That we get 2 error messages now. We get one saying, hey, that's an invalid name. And 2, we had an error message saying that because that's an invalid name, you don't have a name, therefore you need to put a name attribute on it. And I've not liked this case. It's just going to be a larger issue a larger issue in the Wix toolset to fix. To return an identifier that's invalid, or return something that's invalid so that when that check comes on, it says, well, you had a name, but it's not good, and deal with that. All right, so I'm just going to have to live with this, or at this point in time, I have accepted we're going to live with this less than ideal error message being doubled. At the same time, I'm expecting another error. This is not going to pass yet because there's going to be after this one. I'm expecting an error message said that. I thought we had, yeah. So Sean, we do have identifier invalid, but I think there are cases where the code expects that if the identifier is invalid, it comes back null and then makes decisions based off that. And that's the part that we have to go and validate if we were to, instead of returning a null, we were returning an invalid identifier. We have to go through and make sure a lot of code worked. Certainly something that I think we should do. I'm just not doing that right now, which means that that there are 2 error messages. Now here, see, this is the second one. Now I believe these are sorted. Yeah, these messages are sorted here. See, this message is sort. So normally the user would get these 2 error messages in the reverse order. In fact, the set variable will come later yet. So these would be in reverse order normally. So at least if you look at the first thing and say, hey, you got an invalid value, and then you would see that it was not found, at least if you did the first error message first, the second one would go away. Again, something to fix. Okay, so in this tiny little box that I'm having even hard times reading, we expected this and we got something else. All right, I'm gonna have to grab this and drop it in VS Code because this box is too small and I'm on the same computer. I doubt you guys can read any of that. It's gotta be tiny little blocks. All right, give me a new thing. This is what it said. All right, we expected this. Where's actual? Did I not grab actual? Oh, missing 8 lines. The error message is missing 8 lines. This, by the way, is the case. All right, so what are we doing? Why are these all missing now? Did these error messages prevent it from getting even this far into the code? Surprises me. Do these error messages prevent? Oh, these I bet are later. These are probably bind time issues. So we don't get past, because we have invalid variables, we don't get past to that point. That's the problem. Okay. Where are we at? We're at the bad input fixture. What to do here? So do I create another test to test the bad variable names? Probably, I guess we can create another test here. So I have to put good variable names in for these. All right, let's see here. With invalid icon. Bundle with invalid. All right, I think that says, can I get that in there? Yeah, okay. All right, now I have to come up with a different name. Bundle with invalid loc variable names. I think that. All right, let's grab this since half of it's correct. Down to here. All right. Cannot build bundle with loc variable names. There we go. Okay, so replace that with cannot build invalid loc variable names. I guess I could simplify this. I don't know, let's see. So we aren't gonna get any of these search tests. Pin this just so I can see it go green. All right, so that does that, yay. Okay, So that's that test. And now there's this test. Now in this case, I don't want those errors. Where is this used? Oh, it's just the set. So I probably don't need those. So that's the compile time failures. That's the link time. All right, values, variable names. Okay, I'm inclined to not have any of this. Oh, we need this. Okay, let's do that. We don't need the install condition. We'll keep the MSI property. That's fine. Don't need the condition on it. All of that is fine, I think. Okay, now our test is still failing here. Search condition contains built-in burn variable Wix bundle action. Oh, the bundle condition contains built-in variable Wix bundle installed, which is not available. All right. I didn't think I was changing anything. What did I... Oh, the search condition is back now. Wait, no, the set variable is busted. All right, what did I do wrong? Let's replace this with foo. I'm just checking, why did the variables change that? Okay. Wix bundle installed is one of them. All right, search variable. I'm not even seeing the search. Where is the search in here? What am I missing? Is there more than that? Okay, I'm blind. Wix bundled installed. Oh, it's getting replaced by the loc variable. It must be getting replaced by the loc variable. Oh, here we go. That condition. Nonsense global condition. Okay, fine. There we go. That's what it's doing. Yes, okay. Why does having this matter, though? If I take these guys out, that search variable test is disappearing? No. All right, let's just go look at all of them. The bundle condition, that you're first. Okay, so we'll take that one out. Search variable attribute. They just come back in different order now. I thought the whole point of sorting these was that they, oh wait, the exe package detect condition is gone. It's getting every other one. Is it? Expected, the search variable attribute. And I actually got the exe package detect condition. Oh, okay, that one was right. Sorry, my mistake. Ugh. The search for actual number 2. Number 2. The command line condition value equals not a valid bundle condition. Okay, that's this one. So somehow I lost all the search variable ones. Okay. The variable name attribute begins with the reserved prefix Wix. Okay. Oh, did I break something by pushing that Wix check lower? Oh, I might have, because you can use, all right, that'll be fun. May have to move that Wix, that reserved namespace Wix check back up to the compiler since this code is also used in the back end, and you may be able to use some of these in the back end. The Wix, the variable name, yada, 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 contains, it's not, yeah, okay, fine. What? I need line numbers to know what these all are. Okay, I want to go into the validator. I want to go into the one, this is the one I just added, and let's run this test, debug it. all the way down. All the way down, all the way down. Okay, yay, we hit it. What is this variable name? Wix bundle in progress name. Yeah, that's probably expected. Yeah, this is that validate variables. So what happened? Somewhere along the line, we pulled in one of the standard burn variables, and now we're validating all of the, so, sorry, let me back up. You did the compile, you only used your own custom variable names. You're not using any of the Wix namespace stuff. Those are private to us. Everything's fine. Then you go through linking, and as part of linking, it's like, oh, hey, you needed these standard Wix variables for your bundle, so it added those into the mix, because the linker, you kind of think of it as like link time code generation, kind of. So it sucks into things it needs. And then when we get down to here, when we're validating variables for the all up burn, sorry, here is the very end of, well, near the very end of the build process. It's going through and validating all the variables. And now we're hitting this case because I moved the check for the Wix namespace lower. Now we're hitting the case where it's like, hey, you're using this built-in variable. And the user's like, no, I didn't add that anywhere. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. So this is actually a good time for me to think about this case. So this is going through all variable symbols and making sure that they are valid. And it's validating the variable name. And the variable name now, validate variable, please. Oh, there's two of them. That's why it's asking me. This same check happens in the compiler. And it's the variable name. So by checking these variables again, we're checking the ones from the compiler, the ones that were added at the link time, anything that was added by an extension during the process. So it's the thing I'm thinking about is this one of the ones that so we have this problem where, if you remember, because of all the local variables, they can change values very late in the build process after the compiler did lots of validation. So we need to start moving more, we know we need to move more and more validation of the values to later in the build process to handle those local and Wix variables changing things later than the compiler, changing values later than the compiler. And this is checking the names, but you can't put bind variables into the name of the variables. So technically speaking, this should never fail. The way that this code fails is if you have an extension in the build process, add bad data. That would be the only one where it could fail. So I mean, it's extra double checking, triple checking, although it shouldn't be able to happen. Okay. Well, I think, let's say we keep that. I can't keep this here. This is clearly busted because at the point because this code will be used both in the compiler and the backend will definitely have, or has a high likelihood of having, reserved namespace. So I can't add this check. Oops, double control. Oops, come on. Double control, lost my spot. Okay. So let's then go to, where was I? In the compiler bundle, and I don't need this breakpoint anymore. Parse variable element, please. And I need to bring this check back here. If the name.id starts with Wix, you can't do that. That's not allowed. And this check goes here. Oh, I guess if we're not... Yeah, and if we don't use set variable... Notice all those failures that I had in the past are all gone now. It was all because I pushed this code too low. Okay. Okay. Do we have another one of these down? No, we don't. Set variable. Do we need it on parse set variable? What is this one? Okay. All right, I guess we are just letting the variable name go all the way through, and we're going to catch it in the back end if it ends up in a bad spot, I guess. That must be what that is. I don't know enough about set variables. It's new in Wix 4, and I haven't dealt with it enough to know if that is different. All right. Well, that definitely is better. Let's go look at this other thing that's upset. It's now returning a different error code. Can detect missing feature component mapping. What? Why did we... How did this get touched? That's very interesting. Package missing feature mapping. Don't know. Okay. I like the way that other code was checking the error messages. No, not you. Let's see. What do I want? I want the, where's my, oh, bad input fixture. All right, so these don't happen now because you can't have local variables, so you can't have those checks happen really late. Okay, that makes sense. All right, I understand why those aren't happening anymore. It was something, okay, got it. Okay, now I'm here. I want this sort of thing. Assert in range 2 to something larger. That's fascinating. Basically saying the exit code should be something. Or not 0 or 1. And because I don't think we return and not negative. Anyway, that's interesting. Let's go over here to the fixture and let's have it check the error messages, not just the exit code. I'm fine with it checking the exit code as well. Let's do that. All right, so result messages where m equals there. Now we're just gonna grab all of them, I think. That's fine. These are clearly not gonna be the right error messages. So let's see what we get. Oh, notice our first error message is here when I make it bigger. The file ID attribute bang loc foo is not a legal identifier. Identifiers must be that. So this test apparently is using a loc variable as the name of the file, or as the ID of the file. Well, here, right as I put this here, we're gonna have to go fix that instead. So let's go package missing feature component mapping. Why is that a loc variable? That does not need to be a loc variable. Where are we at in the world of tests here? Yeah, okay, fine. Let's just not give it an ID. That'll be fine. So this will no longer be the error message I get. And now I will get the found orphan component, which makes sense. Found orphan component. Boom. Is there only one error message there? There is. And now we get exit code 267 back. So that's good. The reason I like to put the I don't want that. The reason I like to put the error messages first is because, well, it's more likely that something changed. This will get caught first, and then you can validate the exit code is correct. That's fine. Woo! All right, so all of this was to update the, it's this. Let me bring up the, where did I put that web browser? I slid it out of my way. Yeah. So all of this is to variable loc name stays unresolved. So the change was to not allow loc variables in the variable name identifiers, and to catch that with a nice error message up front. So we updated this test over in the bad input, which is the guards against various bundle values from log, which is cool. And then we add another one to catch the variable names being invalid here. All right, that's groovy. I don't want the in range. How about we do this, and we'll make the exit code equal. Yeah, it's not gonna be 2. What number is it? 6603? Yes, that makes sense, because that's our new error message. The variable is not a valid bundle variable name. Good deal. That's great. What's the problem here? Oh, did I put them backwards? I put them backwards. In range has them the other way around. There we go. There we go. Sort equal to that. And I don't know. We'll leave that one there. Let's be explicit. I don't really know how much it matters that we check these exit codes. I guess this is saying the thing that is true. It needs to be an error message, but I don't know. The exact error message. I don't know how many people depend on the exit code of the Wix build process to know that what went wrong. 1159. Okay. Okay, great. We're back to good tests. I don't need these guys anymore. Those are all preprocessed stuff, things we did a week ago or so. All right, so the end result is stays unresolved. Well, we now error in the compiler. So we prevent this problem from happening, which is a good thing. And I reminded myself of the way some things work. So let's go back and look at our to-do here. So I did my homework here. Check that off. I figured out why. I did this to fill full set of restrictions on the variable names. And we evaluated this command that's doing all the checks. And it's probably just one of those better safe than sorry's. Let's go ahead and check all the variable names at the end. Because I still think this is what was said is true. If the compiler does the check and we ensure that none of the variable names are ever invalid, this shouldn't be necessary. But extensions could slip in bad data or things like that. So better safe than sorry, and it's not like it's an expensive check. So that's good. All right, so that means that this here. This is what we're doing. 6743. 6743. Yes. Checking that thing off. Woohoo! All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. All right, we're going to bring up, let's see. Code will show me, right? There we go. Here's all my stage changes. MSU package fixture. Okay, wait a minute. Wait. I need to go back. A more comfortable view here. Let's see. What are all these? Create burn manifest. Oh, this is the KB one. I thought I committed this already. Apparently I did not. All right, that's all fine. This is from, was this last week? Maybe this was last week? 2 weeks ago? I've kind of lost track of time. Oh, let's see. Should remove the element if there's no more bind time. Oh shoot, I should have been keeping close track. Oh, bind time test. Remove the element if there's no more bind time failures. The weakness in the messages, set variable to search. Okay, I think that's all related to those error messages or the test as I was doing them. And I think we're good now. Util Wix extension, Sean says, Util Wix extension will want access to the standard way of parsing a variable name. Oh, a burn bundle variable name. Oh. Okay. Wix. Oh, because bundle variable names can show up in more places than I guess they thought. Okay. All right. I don't think I changed. So this is all. So the issue here that I think Sean's pointing out. And compiler bundle is that this is using, yes, this is using this core concept, which is an old Wix 3 thing that we've been trying to clean up. I've talked about this before, where we had this internal core object that did a lot of validation and things like this, and we've been trying to move it to an interface called parse helper, which this thing here, the parse helper, because we give those to extensions. So the compiler and the extensions will use the same helper methods, thus parse helper, to do work. And so I think Sean's saying that there might be get attribute bundle variable name identifier. Oh, so if this was to be promoted, if they reference a variable that gets set at the end of this, they reference a variable that gets set at the end of the search. They reference a variable. Interesting. In that case, you might not even want this exactly. You'd want the one where you get the identifier value, because this is now returning an identifier, which is what we want in this case. Actually, all right, I'm going to do one more thing. Based on that, I'm going to do one more thing. So I put this check down here inside the compiler. I don't think I want to do that. I want to bring it down, put it down in here, which makes it more likely that we will catch it if when this gets moved to a parse helper. Just more likely that we get that right. Okay. Now I can't validate that's a bundle variable name in here because this is used in both places, but I can validate that the name is correct here. And I've forgotten how we get error messages out of here. X attribute, nope, attribute dot parent name local name attribute dot name dot local name. Yes, there we go. Okay, so those two things. Now, where is oh, just messaging. Okay, my bad. It's not capitalized. This not messaging. There we go. So I just picked up that message that was complete within the compiler and pushed it down a layer into the core. So if we then extract this code and push it to like the parse helper for a util 4 or for a util Wix extension, then that would work. And it's, yeah, see the tricky part is we don't actually want attribute identifier. We want attribute we want bundle variable name value, not, or identifier value, because we don't want to do the get attribute identifier here because we don't want to have all the global and prefix, the access modifier checks on it either. So something for future problems to solve. Gets a bundle variable name displays, I'm not going to capitalize bundle. Source line over it, yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, let's do a little bit of cleanup here. This is MSU work. This is all the MSU work. And we did all of this variable name stuff without needing to go back. So I think we're going to call that good, but I do need to go back to my issues. Variable name, and then I think MSUs are on the next page. Yes, KB is deprecated. Let's go ahead and do that and say, oh wait, timeout, Rob. No, bad Rob. Yes, this is not completed. I said this is not completed. That was close, almost messed up there. This is not complete because I was going to save it and park it and see whether we were going to remove the KB attribute from the element from MSUs. All right, let's go back here. 26 ended with this: variables, preprocessors, MSU package. I opened the issue. Oh, see, we did episode 26, and then the Wix meeting happened. And now we need to go back and update the MSU package. All right, let me catch up to there. The Wix meeting happened between episode 26 and episode 27, aka last week. And the decision was that I was being a digital hoarder, I think is what Bob called it, a digital hoarder, which is a terribly accurate and that's a pretty rough name for keeping the KB. And so it needs to be nuked from orbit. So we need to go back and do more work on MSU. So we're going to end up with about 15 minutes left on this thing here. So we will go do that next, I think. All right, which means that because I decided to go ahead and get some more work done on my same branch, I need to go do some git foo here to decide how I want to commit both of these changes. And I think the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to commit this. I'm going to commit this MSU change. Then I will commit the variable name change. And then I'll go back and do some MSU work, and then we'll do some rebase stuff. So let's see if we can work our way through a few steps here and there. All right, so this fixes 6749 on Git. That seems to line up. And what are we doing? We are removing the KB, remove MSU package, KB and permanent attributes. Why? Windows no longer allows for the silent removal of MSUs, which renders the KB attribute irrelevant. And permanent attributes irrelevant. This removes both. All right, that fixes that. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So I'm gonna commit. It's not complete, but I'm committing it. We're gonna drop all this in. Oh wait, why the preprocessor? Oh no, did I not save? I didn't save this before. I get so spoiled by VS Code sometimes automatically saving my files. Let's see. So yeah. Oh no. I did. It's not that I didn't save it. That was a small thing we did in between times. Right. We added a test for another fix. Man, I forgot how many things we got through. Permanent. No, those are all new. Wait. Should KB be removed from that? Oh. Okay, I have to think about that. I'm going to go back. My preprocessor. Where's my preprocessor test? Preprocessor conditional is expected, executed before that. Yeah, this guy. 5259. There we go. I think it has to be closes. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Add test to verify variable syntax allowed in what are they called? Ifdefs. Is allowed in ifdefs. There we go. Add that file. So in the end, after all that, we just had to write some tests and verify that everything worked correctly. That was pretty good. Add test to verify variable syntax. Yes. Okay. Cool. Commit. Groovy. All right. Now we're going to drop all this in. And this is the thing we're working on most recently. Variable names. Yay. What are we doing here? I guess we'll say fixes. I don't know. Fixes, closes, whatever. What are we saying? Oh yes. Ensure or I will say this. Properly validate bundle variable names. I mean, that's what we're doing. It's all of that was about properly validating bundle variable names. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. Commit that. All right, now back to MSUs. And I remembered then that on my next page here, I opened a new issue about should KBs be removed from MSU package and or Wix bundle package symbol. And the answer is yes. Emphatic yes. Emphatically yes, do that. All right, so let's go ahead and work on that next. Now I think, like my little bit of history here, I think I'm going to do it this way. Normally I might do a rebase and whatnot. But I'm going to try it this way. I'm going to do a git tag X. It doesn't matter. Oh, X already exists. I'll name it something. Git tag. What was this? Yes. Variable name validated. There we go. Cool. Now I'm going to go back to here, to this point in time. I'm going to try it this way. I'm going to copy this SHA 788, git reset here. And I think I want to do that part, right? Let's make sure I have my tag. So what I'm doing is I'm going to move back in time, back to when I was working on this MSU work. Boom. So if we look, my branch Rob fixes is here, and these two changes for if defs and variable names are now not in the picture. So I'm going to now continue working based on the MSU stuff. All right, Visual Studio should update automatically for me. And Crunch is thinking about its purpose in life, I think. There we go. Go, go, go. Now, this is interesting. I had pinned a test that no longer exists back here. These tests are not interesting. That was cool. I had a test pinned, and I was curious what nCrunch was going to do when I had a test pin that had been removed because we'd gone back in time. And the answer is it just got rid of it. Ignored my pin. All right, KIB. KB. All right, here we go. So how to do this? We are going to go to MSU KB. We're going to remove that. That's going to show me two places that it's now dead. Oh, I have to bring up the Wix bundle MSU package symbol. Doobie-doobie-doo. Easiest way to do that is that's off way over here. All right, so we are nuking this symbol or this field from this symbol. So the MSU KB is no longer on the symbol. So we're going through all the work to remove it. The symbols are the low-level building blocks of the compiler and the linker and how they talk to each other. And then, of course, contain all the data necessary to put the final output. We are removing the ability for it to contain the KB attribute as recommended by Bob. All right, so now we don't have MSU KB there. And then we remove it here from that build, from KB from that. Allowed stays, MSU KB goes, so that whole case statement goes away. And now we wait for the test to fail. Boom. Because some of these guys still have MSUs. All right. MSU package. Let's see. The bundle.wxs, I guess, in the MSU package folder. Okay, so test data. I can close these guys. MSU. We have lots of test files. M before prub. MSU package, there we go. Let's look at bundle, and there's KB. KB goes away. Actually, let's pin all these. Can I pin them? Pin. Oh, I didn't pin it fast enough. It's all right, I'll pin this too. Pin, all right. On to this test now. This is in the MSU as well. Bundle using certificate verification. You probably have a KB. Yep. Remove that. That KB is gone. Let's go look at this test. This is the bundle without cache ID. Without cache ID, we'll remove that KB. All right. Can get remote payload here. Now, if you remember, when we were generating these things, KB was one of those things that we had to generate. I just kind of made it up, so we'll do that. Now we don't need to generate the KB, but we still need a detect condition. Otherwise there'll be a warning or an error about that. All right, cool. So that's all the tests that referred to the KB. Wait for it. All right, good, all green. Now we've removed this attribute, so that means we need to go into the converter. Gotta go do the converter stuff. Let's go in here. We already have an MSU package fixture because we already have one for permanent. I should add the KB to this because chances are they had both on there as well. So deprecated attributes. I'm gonna put KB on here. KB equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't matter. Okay, I expect this test to now fail. Does because KB survived. It says that KB is right here in the test when it did the comparison, which of course it should not. That's what we're going to go write that code for too now. So let's go find the code that removes permanent, and that is in the converter or convert document. And let's look for permanent. Convert MSU package, yay! So we already have this. We have the permanent attribute. We will do the same thing for permanent attribute that we do for KB attribute. KB attribute. KB. KB. MSU package. KB. 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 Should I carry the? I could have just called this attribute and reused it here. I don't know. Whatever. Same. Contains absolute blah attribute. Windows no longer silently supports removing MSU, so that color message is actually also correct. Except it's not quite correct. MSU package now. Now. No longer. I think I'm gonna change this around. Windows no longer supports silent removing, so the KB attribute. So the attribute is unnecessary. Yeah, that. Drop down here to the bottom. I'm gonna actually drop it in there. That. Continuing our pattern of permanent KB. Boom. KB is now obsolete. We should see ourselves go through here. Oh, it's still red. Bummer. Oh, expected actual 2. All right. We expected 1 errors. We actually got 2. Let's bring the errors lower. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing I did in the other places. I'm going to compare the number of errors at the end because it's more useful to get the message that says, hey, by the way, we've converted this. The first message is not this. The element contains the KB. Windows no longer supports silent removing, so the attribute is unnecessary. Wait a minute. Did I spell it wrong? I think I spelled it wrong. Where did I put it? Where'd it go? Define unnecessary. No, wait. I did spell it. Oh. There. Did I get right the other place? No. I put 2 C's in it. This message is too small. Actual. I know I'm typing it in when I could paste it, but this is just forcing me to make sure I get them right. Converted. MSU package KB no longer supported. The attribute is unnecessary. I spelt it right. The attribute will be removed. Oh, the message. Oh, yeah, good. I'm glad I wrote it by hand because this should not say MSU permanent. Oh, it doesn't. It should say KB. That. Right? Yay! Green. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I think that has removed the KB attribute and has made it part of the deprecated attributes that are removed. Removes MSU deprecated attributes. Yes, that is the answer. All right, let's look at our changes. Back. Man, really? Changed quite a few things then. MSU KB, MSU package fixture, yeah. Remote payload fixture, yeah, we don't insert the KB anymore. Bundle, that's removed it. We removed KB, we removed KB. The whisk converter, we now catch the KB attribute, spit out a nice message, and the compiler bundle, we remove the reference to the KB attribute because it's no longer available as the things that we will be allowed to do stuff with. All right, so now the question. Do I commit this as a separate commit or do I merge it into the previous one? I think I merge it into the previous one because it talks about that. And then I update the message. All right, that means we're gonna do a git commit amend. So let's do that. Git commit amend. So we are, now that I'm back there, I'm going to add to this and fixes 6749, and I need the other one that I opened to create work for myself, but cleaned up the conversation, so I think it was probably worth it. There we go. Windows no longer supports that. This irrelevant, removes both. Boom. 6801. 6801, 6749. 6749. Boom and boom. All right, great. So now we commit that. Yes, please. And we have committed all of our changes there. And now if we look at it, our history is kind of goofy because I went back in time, updated remove MSU package, and now I need to bring my other work and stick it on top of here. So let's go ahead and do that little bit of work. Oh, I should have created a branch. I don't know why I created a tag. It's fine. We'll create a branch from it right now. Let's do that then. All right, here we go. Git. So I have this thing called start that I use all the time, which is git checkout-b. So create a branch. Robman. What did I call this? Variable name validated from variable name validated. So I use the PowerShell plugin for, or whatever they're called, the Posh PowerShell for Git. It's a fantastic thing. So I could do the tab on that. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a branch from that tag. Go ahead and do that. Switch to that branch. Uh-oh, I just did a bad thing. No, I didn't. Whew. For a second, I thought I'd lost the work I'd done, but I'd left a branch there. All right, F5. So we now have this branch, and we want to bring it over to the work we did on Rob fixes, and we're going to get a lot of merge conflicts, probably. Well, we'll see. Let's do it. Rebase this branch onto the Rob with the fixes, because that has our new stuff. Go. Boom. Yeah, this is expected. I am curious what the merge conflicts look like. MSU package fixture. What? Oh, yes, because I added the KB. Yeah, I added the KB. So I want to, let's accept the incoming. I like to do this sometimes just to kind of make sure that I've got the right things coming in. And our collision is down here. We have permanent attribute and we want the, oh wait, which one did I pick? Let's go back. The current one has the KB here and does not have the KB there. I want current change, yes. Yes, yes. And this too, I want the current change, not the incoming change. All right, now let's look here in this diff, and I think we'll find that when I add these two, oh, there was a change. Oh, I left something. Yep, this is why I do this, just to make sure that I'm not getting anything I didn't want. So I want to discard that lot. Yeah, let's go back to code. Yeah, let's just mark this changes now. Okay, so yeah, I made a mess of this by not seeing that there are two changes. And I'm just going through this so you guys can see that, you know, hey, I mess up the git commands too, and it's all okay. You can get there too. You can get to the end. All right, boom. So what happened there is that now that I don't have any changes, I know that when I did my rebase on, that everything properly merged and there were no changes, and I'm keeping all my main line stuff, so I can say git rebase -- continue. And now we should have our whole new world up to date with all of our stuff. Properly valid names. Yep. On top of our new MSU. On top of all of our other work. And we have this tag hanging out with all of our old changes. Sweet. So there's a bunch of random Git magic to do that. I'm sure there were definitely other ways I could have chosen to execute those commands. I don't think that was at all the most efficient way through, but it was fun. It worked. All right, we're done. I'll be back next week. I think, I'll figure out what we're doing for next week. We've checked off a bunch of things, got ourselves into a good state. I think we have to go back and revisit another piece of work that's already done before we start thinking about, spending some time pushing all this stuff up. So until then, you guys keep coding. You know I am. Bye.